Ambassador Hargreaves, thank you so much for talking to Radio Free Europe.
Thank you so much.
Any day now we are expecting yet another ruling from the Constitutional Court when it comes to the constitution of the Parliament and the issue on the election of deputy speakers coming from the communities. What are your expectations?
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Before I get into that, I just wanted to note that this week is the second anniversary of the terrible attack at Banska, and I wanted to offer my condolences to the Bunyaku family, and also to reassure that we continue to make very clear our expectation that the perpetrators of that attack will be tracked down and brought to justice.
We'll return back to Banska later
Sure.
on. Yeah, your expectations on the Constitutional Court.
So on the Constitutional Court, yes, we're all eagerly waiting for the judgment next week, which I hope the court will be able to deliver on time. I don't know what that's going to be, of course, and I don't think any of us know for sure what that will be. I think what is really important is that all the parties concerned take it very seriously, that they very publicly declare that they will fulfill whatever the court suggests or mandates, and above all, that they do something about it. We have been in this situation of an absence of an assembly and a full government, I think, for much too long for Kosovo's interest. And I think it's really urgent now, it's been urgent for a long time, that the assembly is properly constituted, that there can be a government. I think Kosovo is losing out during this period, not having full, confident international voice. There are, as I understand it, almost a billion euros worth of grants and loans that are stuck in the Assembly. There's all sorts of legislation which needs to go through. So I think the people of Kosovo are missing out by not having a full Assembly and a full government.
But why does the UK feel the need to stress the respect of the court's rulings? Is there a concern that some party will not respect it?
Obviously, that's a fundamental part of Kosovo's constitution and a fundamental part of the application of the rule of law on which Kosovo has made so much progress over the last period of time. And it's something that I think Kosovo should be very proud of. The progress has been made since independence on having a really strong application of the rule of law. We have been concerned, like others, about some of the language that's been used about the Constitutional Court and some of the implications as to whether the Constitutional Court is able to do its job and whether everything will be completely respected. So I very much hope and expect that all the political parties and everybody in society will allow the court to get on with its job and, as I say, above all, to get on with implementing whatever it decides.
Are you referring to the language used by the winning political party of the acting Prime Minister, Albin Kurti?
I think it's just important that all parties make it really clear that regardless of political affiliation, they are all on the same side when it comes to the Constitutional Court and letting it do its job and respecting its decisions.
What risks do you see if the stalemate drags on?
I think there are a lot of risks. I mean, there is a risk in timing. We really need to have an assembly which is able to elect a new president in the early spring. Kosovo really needs a budget that's passed. It really needs to be active at the international table. We have been working with Kosovo for many years on our partnerships, not just here, but internationally. We want to see Kosovo in more international organizations. We want to see Kosovo as a partner in European security. We want to see Kosovo government doing things which really matter to all the different people living in Kosovo, and all of those things are being put on hold at the moment, and I don't think that's in Kosovo's interests.
But we've also heard an option of going maybe to another cycle of elections. Can Kosovo afford that?
Well, if that's what it takes, then, and if that's what the parties conclude is necessary to get things moving again, then so be it. I think, first of all, it's really important that the local government elections pass well. I think we're working hard with the Electoral Commission and so on to try to make sure that the local elections are really well run, and I hope they will be. I really hope that a lot of people all over the country will participate. I very much hope that the results obviously will be respected and implemented, and I think that's the first step. If there are more national elections at some point, because that's the only way that Kosovo can find its way out of this current impasse, then so be it, and I trust that all the parties and the institutions will run those at least as well as they did last February.
So where do you see the main responsibility lying when it comes to resolving this stalemate?
I think it's on all of the political parties. I think this is there are legal and institutional issues, of course, and that's the job of the Constitutional Court, but there needs to be a combination of institutional legal approaches and political approaches, and I don't think we're going to move beyond this unless parties are able to do what, frankly, the Kosovan political system was set up to assume, which is that parties and people would work together, find political solutions which are in the best interest of the country, which enable the Constitution to be respected and put into action. So I'm really calling on all of the political parties to find whatever solutions they can together, and I don't know what the best combination of those would be, but I do believe that as well as following the correct legal procedures, we need a lot of hard work, a lot of political courage by the political leaders in this country. I know it's not easy, and I know that this is a very difficult situation for all of them, but I think the political courage to make some compromises, work together in the interests of the country is what we really need.
You mentioned earlier the language being used is exactly these critics addressed to the Constitutional Court that has triggered the United States to suspend the planned strategic dialogue with Kosovo. Kosovo is still under some EU measures since 2 years ago. What is the current partnership or relations between the UK and Kosovo?
Well, I've been here for 18 months in this country. Very much, I'm extremely privileged to be here doing this role as British Ambassador. The first thing that has struck me in almost every meeting that I've had in my time here has been the depth and warmth of the relationship between Kosovo and the UK. And as you know, that goes all the way back to 1999, and British troops being amongst the first to come as part of the NATO operation. It goes back to 2008 when the UK was the first country to recognise Kosovo's independence. It goes back to our long and deep cooperation on security and our belief that Kosovo should be and is an independent and sovereign state. So I think that the UK-Kosovo relationship is very profoundly rooted, and we are very proud of that, and we continue to be, and we will continue with that. We do have some of the concerns that other international partners have shared. I mentioned some of the concerns about language around the Constitutional Court. I think we're on record, I'm on record as having concerns about some of the actions which have taken place, particularly in the north of Kosovo over recent months, which have not necessarily been done in consultation properly with the affected communities, and which have led to some fear and instability in those communities. I worry when I hear people questioning the basis of this state, which from our point of view was on the basis of the Ahtisaari plan, as reflected then in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, which really form the fundamental bond between our countries, because that was very much the basis on which we were instrumental in helping Kosovo to be recognised by now over 100 countries.
Do you think Kosovo is not sticking to it as much as it should?
I worry when I hear people beginning to open up that discussion, because I think it's incredibly important that Kosovo remains absolutely committed to that very fundamental basis on which the state was recognised. In particular, the extremely important protection of non-majority communities, which was absolutely at the heart of all three of those documents which I mentioned. And we do have some, we would like to see a more active embrace of those principles of really protecting the rights of non-majority communities, some really active language and action which makes sure that all non-majority communities that live in this country really feel protected, feel that they have a future here, feel as though they're part of this country.
I believe you have transmitted these messages to the acting Prime Minister, Kurti, during your meetings too. Do you see readiness?
I mean, I think people have heard me say these things frequently in public, and of course, therefore, I say the same in private. I was encouraged by what the Prime Minister said in his video message to the Serb community a week or so ago, where he talked about his commitment to the Kosovo Serb community in particular, his commitment to working with new Kosovo Serb mayors, if and when they are elected, particularly in the four northern municipalities. He talked about having a proper conversation with them in some of the decisions which may affect their lives. So I was really encouraged to hear that. So what we would like to see now and over the next few months and years is not just saying that, but doing things which really demonstrably show that he and the government really mean those things, and that Kosovo Serbs and other non-majority communities can feel that this is a country in which they have a future. They have the same entitlements to have great services, great protections as anybody else.
You believe this should be one of the priorities of the future government, and what other priorities do you think future government should have?
I certainly think it's one of the really important things, and it tends to be one thing that we as an international community focus on a lot, for the reasons that I've set out, that it was so fundamental to the sort of basis of our relationship. But of course, I have now, I'm happy to say, visited almost every municipality in Kosovo. I've just got a handful left that I still need to visit. And when I have visited those municipalities and talked to mayors and talked to people, of course, I also hear lots of other things that are on their minds. I hear people talking about water and waste management. I hear
and we hear that during now electoral campaign too.
Exactly, and I hear people talking about the quality of education, and I hear young people, as we did last week at one of the Berlin Process events here, talking about their incentives to stay and work and be productive in this country rather than feeling as though they can have a better life somewhere else. I have a lot of conversations with women's groups who worry about gender-based violence. So there are a lot of things to be getting on with in this country, which any new government will need to tackle, alongside some of the fundamental things which, as I say, form the very basis of this state.
What about the dialogue with Serbia? Circumstances in both Serbia and Kosovo seem unfavorable for continuation of this process. How do you see this process moving forward?
Well, it's not a secret that at the moment it's not going very fast, and that's not surprising, given the absence of an assembly and a full government here. And we also all understand that there are a lot of events going on in Serbia at the moment which are taking up a lot of political airtime. So it's disappointing and worrying that the dialogue is not going fast at the moment. But the EU have an excellent special representative and an excellent team who I know are working extremely hard to prepare the ground for the moment when there is a better opportunity for momentum. We as the UK still absolutely committed to supporting the EU in that process. And in the meantime, making sure that the conditions here in Kosovo are the best that they possibly can be to give a good environment for that. And that's something that Kosovo can do regardless of the bilateral or trilateral talks. But the basis of the dialogue will be very much affected by the conditions on the ground, and that's something that I think is within the control of Kosovo and its government.
But there is another condition that Prime Minister Kurti put forward for a continuation of the dialogue, and that's the extradition of Milan Radojcic, who took responsibility for the armed attack in Banska. Do you consider it as a legitimate demand?
I consider that it is very important for Milan Radojcic and the other perpetrators of the Bansk attack to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. And
where?
I think that is initially a question for the Serb authorities, and we consistently and regularly talk to the Serb authorities about that. I don't want to get into what happens thereafter, because I think first of all it's a matter for the Serbian judicial system to deal with that. But it is really important that that happens. We cannot continue with the impunity for that terrible attack, and there needs to be action against Mr. Radojcic and his colleagues.
So are you saying that the Prime Minister should stick to that condition?
I was not referring to whether that should be a condition or not for dialogue. I think that's a process which needs to happen. I also think that the sooner Kosovo and Serbia can get back on track with some constructive dialogue with each other, the better that will be for the people of Kosovo.
There is also ongoing discussion now, and you mentioned the Prime Minister's message to the Serbian community last week about the integration of health and the education system. The leader of the Serbian list, Zlatan Alex, said that that's in a way the red line for them. How do you see this process evolve? Are you included in the discussions with Kosovo government on that?
It's a very sensitive subject. And of course, any family is going to think really hard about the quality of their education and healthcare, where that is going to come from, how that's going to continue, how they're going to be afforded, how their children will continue to have access to that. So it's an incredibly, those twin issues are incredibly sensitive. And by the way, they're big issues for people all over Kosovo. And they matter to families all over the country. They are clearly currently provided by Serb-run structures at the moment. And we have always been consistent that the main way in which that should be governed and regulated under Kosovo's legislative framework would be under the agreed mechanism of an association of Serb majority municipalities, and we still believe that that is the end goal, to agree and form and implement an association which oversees those services.
Do you agree that these services should be resolved within the association, as it is stated in the draft statute in a way that was presented to Prime Minister Kurti?
Well, I think the association is to be the end point, and any work on health and education needs to be compatible with the establishment of an association. I think the other really important point, though, is, and perhaps an even more important point, is, as I said, these are services which really affect families and individuals. And any policymaker all over the world, I think, would agree that having a real consultation, a real involvement of communities that are going to be affected by changes in the way that such important things are communicated with them, that needs to be a real conversation. As I said, I was very glad to hear the Prime Minister saying that he will be willing to discuss matters like that with New Kosovo mayors, but I also think that there are different channels by which it's really necessary for Kosovan authorities to have real personal, direct communication with the communities that are affected, and to find a way that whatever happens to those services, they continue to be accessible, high quality and affordable. And as I say, this must take place within the framework of the EU-led dialogue, because that's a long-standing commitment of Kosovo's, but also, most importantly, I think, with rather than to the communities that are going to be affected by them.
But after everything that has happened in past 2 years in the north, it seems like the dialogue, the communication has never been more distance between the local Serbs and the official authorities in Pristina. As I said, the head of Serbian list already said that those are the red lines. What should be the way for Kosovo government to approach these people there and rebuild the trust maybe in them and get into discussion about that?
I certainly do not pretend that it's easy. And we have some experience of this in the UK, of communities that over a period of time have distrusted each other. I'm referring, of course, to the situation in Northern Ireland, and over time we have found ways, they have found ways, those communities, to have better ways of having dialogue. I think part of it is to use, as I said, all sorts of different mechanisms for having authentic conversations, both through political representatives, but also through civil society and through other representatives, genuine representatives of communities. But I think probably even more than that, Kosovo, as I'm often told, and I agree, has a very good framework for the protection of non-majority rights. The legislative framework is there. What doesn't always happen is the implementation of that framework in ways which are clear and accessible and consistent. There are all sorts of very useful institutions and mechanisms which are there to help with that. I'm thinking of things like the police inspectorate. Good organisation needs to be even more accessible and show that its responsiveness to complaints that come to it. The role of the Ombudsman is really, really important. The Office of the Community Affairs in the Prime Minister's Office to think about matters of language, Office of the Language Commissioner, and many others. These things all exist, but typically either they are there are many vacancies, or they're not fully funded, or sometimes there are obstacles to all communities to be able to access their services or to know exactly how they work. So I think there are a lot of very practical things that will go beyond talk and beyond good assertions of intent that will really show that the Kosovo authorities really want to make it easy for Kosovo Serbs to be part of this society.
I'll stick to dialogue a bit more. It seems that the dialogue with Serbia is holding back Kosovo's progress toward further recognitions and memberships to different organizations like Council of Europe and even NATO. If Serbia continues to not be cooperative, it's a bit hypothetical. If Serbia continues to not be cooperative, is there a point where the international community will say, okay, let's stop delaying Kosovo's membership, and let's try to help it?
Both Serbia and Kosovo have made commitments at various points during this dialogue journey, if I may call it that, over the years. And we would like to see both Serbia and Kosovo implementing those commitments in full. That means that, of course, there are responsibilities on Serbia to do the things which they have committed to, but it also means that Kosovo can get on with the things which it's committed to. I think that that is the best way for Kosovo to be able to make more progress towards institutions that we really want Kosovo to be part of. We want Kosovo to be part of NATO. We want Kosovo to be part of the European Union. We want Kosovo to be part of the Council of Europe. We often argue Kosovo's case, but it's harder when there are countries who look at what's going on and look at some of the commitments which have not been fulfilled. It's harder for us to convince others that Kosovo should be brought into the clubs of which they are members if they're not fulfilling the commitments which they have, which Kosovo has itself set out. I think what a lot of people care about in this country, it seems to me, and something which is, as I mentioned right at the beginning of this discussion, fundamental to our relationship, is safety and security for the people of Kosovo. And it seems to me that the best way for people in this country to feel safe and secure is to be members of those international organisations which help to guarantee that. I would love, as I say, to see Kosovo making greater progress towards NATO. I would love to see Kosovo playing an even greater role in what we sometimes call exporting security. Kosovo has tremendous capacity and capability, which we work on together in things like Operation Interflex, where Kosovo security forces have been helping to train Ukrainians. So I think it is so much in Kosovo's interests to do things which enable us to help Kosovo to be part of those international clubs. But Kosovo also needs to be able to convince the existing members of those clubs that it can be a member.
Since you mentioned the security, the UK in a way expressed some worries before Banjska happened. I know that the previous ambassador in an interview did say that he was worried about what may happen in the next couple of weeks or months, and then the Banjska happened. How would you describe current security situation in Kosovo?
Well, I think at the moment it is, on the face of it, calm, and I hope that continues. But I think there is a fragility there, which we need to be very aware of. Banjska and other incidents show that there is always a vulnerability to incidents, particularly if there are reasons for communities to be not trusting each other, or if there are incidents which demonstrate that there are attempts to undermine institutions. So I think broadly calm but fragile, and let us work together to make sure that the fragility is manageable and that we can shift that in a different direction towards more stability for everybody, because I think that's in all of our interests. We have, of course, troops here as part of KFOR. We have 350 troops here who happen to be part of the strategic reserve here at the moment. So this all affects the UK as well as the people of Kosovo, and that's why we continue to urge Kosovo to make sure that the situation remains both calm but underlyingly more stable.
Just to follow up to that, Kosovo Police Director Gazmet Hoxha said that they have had drone flights that they suspected are coming from the territory of Serbia into the northern part of Kosovo, that the police is in contact with KFOR and with partners. Do you know anything about this?
No, I'm not. I don't have the detail on that. I'm very confident that Director Hoxha and KFOR will continue the very good communication, which I know they have, to work out exactly what is going on there and what needs to be done about it.
The security situation also brings me to the Berlin process. Migration, security and economic growth are this summit's priorities. They will be hosted by UK in London in October. Beyond declarations, what concrete results can Kosovo and the region expect from this summit?
Well, we are delighted to be hosting the Berlin process this year. As you mentioned, there'll be a leaders meeting in London on October the 22nd, and before that foreign ministers will meet in Northern Ireland, as I mentioned before, and interior ministers and economy ministers will also meet in London. There's a reason why it's called the Berlin process, and that is that it's an ongoing attempt which our very good friends in Germany have been leading over the past decade or so, to find multiple ways in which governments and civil society and business from around the Western Balkan Six can continue to communicate on really, really important issues. This time around, I believe we've got 16 different meetings around the region. We've been very keen to make sure that the meetings happen within the region and are led by countries in the region. To keep open communications, practical cooperation between these sort of different parts of society around the Western Balkan Six. There are, of course, some specific things that we hope will come out of it. We've been very glad to work over the last few years with Kosovo and Albania, and more recently North Macedonia, on a joint migration task force, which helps us all to cooperate on migration issues, and we hope that that will be that the Berlin process will be a place which will enable us to extend that to other countries in the region. We will be, of course, using the process to push forward with implementation of particular aspects of SEFTA, some practical issues on technology and on roaming, and many, many other subjects on the table, ranging from
recognition of documents between Kosovo and Bosnia, for example.
That is one thing that we are very much working on, recognition of ID cards, and also mutual recognition of university qualifications, which we hope will be part of the recipe. So we're very glad that we're able to host it this year. Our Prime Minister was extremely keen that we did, because it represents the importance which the United Kingdom attaches to this region, to its role in stability all across Europe, which is, of course, in the much broader sense, on the minds of all leaders in Europe, I think, at the moment. So this is a really important part of the jigsaw of broader European security and stability. And the Western Balkan Six have a really important role to play in that, and that's why the UK is really keen to facilitate that in these practical ways during this autumn.
And how would you respond to some experts who told us that the Balkans are in the new 90s?
In the new 90s?
Yes.
Well,
are you worried?
Our job,
do you see it also that way, or?
I think the kind of cooperation which we are seeing during this process shows that it's not always easy, and it shows that memories are difficult to shake off, and it shows that there are things that countries don't all agree about. But I think the importance of this process is that it is a locus on so many different issues which enable better communication, better cooperation, and above all, I think, practical benefits from cooperation between the countries of the Western Balkan Six. And I think that's the best way in which we can make sure that we move forward rather than backwards.
Ambassador, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you so much.